Escape from Tarkov is gun corn. To date, it is difficult to accurately pin down just how many guns are in the game. Perusal of the wiki claims the amount of 179. This includes things like signal flares, 4 of them, items hidden in the game code, like Tajilla's Halloween-specific hand scythe, and items that were removed altogether, like the grill's fixed blade, for likely licensing issues. Let's exude big physicist energy and assume 20 of these 179 items are useless when put next to EFT's standard method of play. No one will be popping a signal flare to highlight hostiles in the dark. Not a soul intends on seriously running a blicky for their factory raids, besides, of course, Cool D. Of these 159 Schrodinger's guns now, there are some that see very little usage too. This occurrence is governed by one truth, or lack of it, necessity. Just what is the flea market? How does your PMC compete in lethal firefights for 3 hours and make it back home to the hideout in time for a set of dumbbell presses and a box of oatmeal? These two features alone contribute massively to the massively predictable loop of each and every wipe, and the cause of it goes directly against the primary pull that Escape from Tarkov truly had on players, both Chads and hopeful Timmies, during pre-unheard and arena climates. This idea lends an extension to other combat-oriented items as well. Helmets, armor, and the like are too many to list. The idea of the game is to scrounge and scratch to get back home from a forsaken place, to compete for resources and gotten gains. In the same breath, this stranded militant, your PMC, can head to the supermarket that is seemingly located just outside of his makeshift house, purchase lethal, high-tech weaponry for fractions of what it can be found for sale in the civilian market, and head out chatted for a simple jaunt in the woods. Imagine them picking their way up to Dickhead Rock and just going apeshit with this high-tech kit, killing all that oppose them. The local leader even responds after a time, lands a few good ones to this PMC's chest plate, level 5. He too is gunned down, inked from the reactive sprays off a meta rifle. Now to cap this raid off, it's time to push deep into the area he had eradicated, to look for valuable single loot slot items to keep the money flowing. Suddenly, a grenade lands near this gentleman's feet after he just finished putting a red repel on his melee slot. He'd bought one in the flea market a few weeks ago, and boom, back to the stash. A slight chuckle later, 200,000 rubles in 5 minutes, this guy is loading right back into woods while looking at TikTok. Now imagine the reverse scenario. This same player can't spam arena for 2 hours to get some phantom coin that a freak with a Zoomer moniker exclusively accepts in exchange for his murder toys. This PMC needs to work for it, so to speak. They have to manually look for even the most basic of armaments. Gone are the days of risking nothing in arena shootouts. Gone are the days of taking a 308 rifle to self-checkout. Perhaps they never even were. Now, after picking his way through crates and bags, he's got it. A well-tuned machine and ammo to match. There's no time to waste. The kit has been earned. It's time to extract. They return to the stash, rest up, re-gear, with only items that had been looted in raid, with the help of maybe their scav buddies. But instead of spurging out on Dighead Rock, they take a few minutes to listen in for shots near the intended area of operations, scanning around with the cheriscope that they worked for, and delicately engaging in conservative firefights to keep themselves and their gear secured for the next raid. They hit the bodies for loot, and the splendor of a red rebel reveals itself, in some guy dressed like a flamingo's pant leg. They hurriedly stash this vital piece of kit in their own respective pant leg, just as a grenade lands at their feet and boom, back to the stash. Please just ruminate on this dynamic shift for a second. A dynamic shift to Tarkov's stale economic metal, and actually get the game in tune with what was advertised. Just think about it. As it stands, arena cross progression should stay in the game, but only down to PMC's specific skill earnings. Let arena mains have their fun, but train the real-life skills of target acquisition and positional profile awareness, like stance, sound, and cover usage. But keep the core idea that your PMC is stranded without support, fully intact. Do you remember when you started playing Escape from Tarkov? The feeling of paranoia, like being trapped in a tight corner, reacting to strike after strike, even when in open, even when standing in the open with no sound besides crickets and the wind. The joy of finding a can of soda when you really needed it, or a fresh gun after exhausting your pistol's magazine reserves. Why have we eliminated this seemingly vital X factor in favor of convenience?
No! No!
What has made Tarkov's fan base turn on the very notion that got them into the game? Why does no one seem to want to escape from Tarkov? Nikita has stated that Tarkov is no longer a hardcore experience. Let's face it. Let's say I agree. Let's say the game that I spent hours and hours enjoying, but mostly trying to enjoy, was actually only the idea I wanted to really engage with for a truly short amount of time. Only as long as it took for me to reach the flea market and transfer GP coins. Wipe after wipe, BSG kills what makes their game great and engaging the more and more they open up opportunities to find great kit while never losing a thing. These issues get even worse if the gameplay around Arena is just something you don't vibe with. If you don't like engaging in firefight after firefight, trading kill for kill, death for death, you're kind of stuck in the mud. Let's face it, Arena is now mandatory if you want to keep up with the gear loss that used to be the real punishment to failed raids. Guns should be a real commodity. Helmets, and armor, and grenades, and magazines too. You can just buy or trade for all of this stuff. And even engage with an arcade game to earn it for zero repercussion. The magic of loss that rode so deep in EFT's DNA is simply gone.